With all the fiberglass and aluminum construction, there's no rusting, molding, or rotting on these travel lights.
Correct. And right now, you'll get the best price you'll get all year on these ultralight teardrop and stand-up teardrop campers.
You just got to see these, people. So many options for towing. No need for a diesel or big truck. Most SUVs have no problem towing these.
That's exactly right. With over a dozen floor plans, there's one just calling your name.
Come get yours today, everybody, and save $1,000 to $3,000 depending on the model.
There will never be a better time to buy this year.
Come check them out and save thousands on all campers. See anytimeanytime.com, and as always at the corner of Highway 79 and East Minnesota.
Anytime Auto Sales.
Each South Dakota farmer operates differently, and that means that ag insurance should be as unique as every farmer in the field. Fisher Rounds & Associates gets to know you and your operation before we find a policy. That way, we can make sure you have the coverage you need. Contact Fisher Rounds & Associates and see what it means to have us at your service and at your side. Fisher Rounds & Associates, serving South Dakota farmers with offices in Pierre, Mitchell, Watertown, Sioux Falls, and Rapid City.
Hi, it's Nate Brown for Black Hills Community Bank. If you run your own company or you're looking to start a small business here in the Black Hills, you want to make sure you choose the right banking partner. And I know the right choice for business is Black Hills Community Bank. They have plenty of banking options to suit your specific needs. And Black Hills Community Bank is here to help business owners thrive and to make sure you have the support and tools to help your business grow. Just contact one of their business loan experts today or visit bhcbank.com. Member FDIC.
KIMM Rapid City and K294BT Rapid City, the Black Hills Sports Station, 106.7 FM and 1150 AM, Fox Sports Rapid City. You need to know.
Major League Baseball teams trying to get deals done up to the final second of the trade deadline, which is just about to pass. Multiple reports say that the Dodgers are acquiring Tigers pitcher Jack Flaherty in a last-minute deal prior to the deadline. There's also a report out there that the Dodgers have acquired outfielder Kevin Kiermaier from the Toronto Blue Jays. Other deals that have gone down. Padres are getting closer Tanner Scott from the Marlins. Marlins outfielder Brian De La Cruz is leaving to become a member of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Well, the Marlins also shipped Josh Bell to the Diamondbacks, and Florida sent lefty Trevor Rogers to the Baltimore Orioles. Guardians today got pitcher Alex Cobb from the Giants. Royals get shortstop Paul DeJong from the White Sox. Mets getting Paul Blackburn, pitcher from the Oakland A's. U.S. women's gymnastics team captures gold in the team final in Paris. Aaron Rodgers to not play in the preseason for the Jets.
It's time for South Dakota's Sports Talk Show. This is the Nate Brown Show, featuring live callers, live interviews, and thought-provoking sports talk. From the biggest national names to the hottest local stories. Welcome to the Nate Brown Show on Fox Sports Rapid City. Here's your host, Nate Brown.
Welcome back in on a Tuesday. How are you? Thanks for being here. We appreciate that. It is the Black Hills Sports Station, 106.7 FM, 1150 AM. Stream us all the time, foxsportsrapidcity.com. Tuesday edition, the Nate Brown Show is back. We are live from our downtown studio, South Dakota Sports Talk Show, ready to go, and it's always a great day in the Black Hills. Welcome in. Busy Tuesday tonight on Fox Sports Rapid City. We're going to run with this show for about an hour and a half, a little bit of an hour and a half hitter for you tonight, so plenty of good stuff. And then just after 5:30, we'll take a timeout, get geared up, get our pregame preparation done, and we'll take you out to the State A Legion Baseball Tournament. Exclusive coverage on the radio side of Post-22 Baseball. We've got the Hard Hats in action tonight. We'll get first pitch going right about 6. So we're going to cut this show a little bit short, get some pregame coverage ready to go, and we'll have Post-22 taking on Brookings tonight. First round of the State A Legion Baseball Tournament. It is live from Brookings. Our play-by-play man, Brent Bowen. We're going to introduce him to the audience tonight. He does South Dakota State baseball, so you might have heard Brent. He's on tonight on Fox Sports Rapid City, so glad to have him. Until baseball, we got a show to do. South Dakota Sports Talk Show ready to go. We're brought to you in part by Black Hills Urgent Care, our official urgent care where me and my family go to get better quicker. Sometimes you get sick. It happens. You want to get good care? Fast, affordable, convenient. There's 2 locations, Black Hills Urgent Care on Haynes Avenue and Mountain View Road here in Rapid City. Black Hills Urgent Care. Schedule on your phone, really easy, bhucare.com. bhucare.com with letter U. Remember that when you're getting sick. They're open 7 days a week. Easy to get in. Black Hills Urgent Care is the faster way to get better. All right, the Nate Brown Show ready. I said we got about hour and a half, a little bit more, so plenty of good stuff tonight. Thought-provoking sports talk here on Fox Sports Rapid City. Remember, you can bring us up right now on Twitter, X. Follow the show and watch us live at Nate Brown Show on X, Twitter, and also on YouTube right now, The Nate Brown Show. We are up there as well. Joining us tonight from Broncos training camp, Benjamin Albright checks in. He's with the Broncos flagship station, KOA, one of the old-timers in Denver. Benjamin Albright's been at all the Broncos practices. He's there today. We're going to get an update. He gave his quarterback ranking so far, and so it's only been a few days, but he said if the season started today, who would be number 1, who would be number 2 for the Broncos? Benjamin Albright joining us live from Broncos training camp, KOA, coming up. We're going to do our NFL report around the league. We've been to a lot of cities. Tonight, you get your exclusive on Kirk Cousins and the Atlanta Falcons. Yes, we've got John Michaels live from Atlanta tonight. Morning host on 680 The Fan covers the Falcons, and Kirk was at it today with Michael Penix Jr. and the whole scene. So our update on training camp from the Atlanta Falcons tonight. We've been through almost all of the teams, and we got John Michaels tonight from 680 The Fan from Atlanta. We will go out early here to talk to Kelvin Torvey. I want to get a preview of the state tournament. The Hard Hats head coach, Kelvin Torvey, live from Brookings tonight, coming up soon before we go out to their game against Brookings tonight. And one of the all-time great coaches, he's been stepped away from coaching for a year now. It's been a full year, and what has he been up to? What is he missing? What has life been like? What does he think of the program now? Longtime South Dakota State head football coach John Stiegelmeier. He's joining us live tonight from Brookings. So Coach Stig back on the Nate Brown Show, I think, for the first time in a year as well. We haven't had Coach Stig on. So he's on coming up after stepping away and retiring last year as the Jacks head coach. All right. Busy show. Let's get you going. 720-1067 is our number. Studio line open and ready. 720-1067 is the studio line. You want to join the conversation, I'll get you on. And the Barron's-Wilson text line open and ready. Text the show, 720-1067. So that's the number there as well. The Barron's-Wilson text line. How about a little fun start to the show today? And I want you guys to be honest. I want to take a real poll question here. And I want to have a little fun. And then I'm going to get into a South Dakota sports question that I really am wondering about, okay? Because I'm seeing this happen more and more in South Dakota high school sports. And I'm really wondering where we're at on it and if we're going to see it even more and more. So I'll get into that. First, the fun question. Let's go to the Olympics. Okay, so I've been watching the Olympics a lot. I don't know about you. Hopefully, it's good stuff. I mean, it's good. Summer Olympics, my favorite by far, and I know we've already debated the Summer Olympics versus the Winter Olympics. Summer's my thing by far, and so I'm watching the Summer Olympics. Now, am I into every single swimming race? I'm not into every single race, but I'm trying to watch this thing, and I'm trying to stay plugged in who's who. Am I into every gymnastics thing? No, but I'm watching the men in prime time last night, and I know they already got bronze, the men, yesterday when I'm here doing the show. But I watched the primetime coverage on NBC. So the USA Gymnastics men's team hasn't medaled forever, and they get bronze last night. So that's all good stuff. But I was starting to think, and I'm watching gymnastics, I said, I'm looking at these athletes. They don't get enough love. I mean, they just don't get enough love. These Olympic sport athletes, you never hear about them. You never see them. They get a 4-year cycle. They get to shine once, and if you're watching, great, but you might miss it. I mean, it's just a whole dynamic, and I'm sitting here. They don't get enough respect from whatever it is, the sports media, the sports culture, fans in general. It's just the way Olympic sports are. They always get poo-pooed in college. Nobody likes them. Nobody watches. Nobody supports. It's all of that stuff. And so I said, I'm watching these guys, and I'm watching like the primetime coverage and all of these sports. It's really outstanding. And yes, I have my favorites as well. Basketball, track and field. That's my favorite stuff. But all of these events, and I don't watch all of them. I'm not going to get into the fencing. I'm not going to do the handball. I'm not going to do the rafting. I'm not going to do all these. But the accomplishments are great, is my point. The accomplishments are next level, just off the charts. I think they got to get some love, and I hope everybody's taking this in. So that's my spiel on the Olympics. My question on the Olympics, as I'm watching these athletes, these sports are unbelievably hard. And if you threw the general Nate Browns out there, it would be a total disaster. And I'm not telling you because I'm not a good athlete anymore. I'm telling you, you just throw out a fairly good athlete in some of these sports, it would be a disaster. And so I said, I'm going to open up the show. I want to get your feelings if you're watching the Olympics. Which Olympic sport, which Olympic event would you look worst in competing? That's my question of the day. A fun one to start, and I just want you to honestly chime in on that, okay? Which main Olympic event? And I'm not talking. We don't have to get into every single one down the road, but I'm going to throw out a few here. Which Olympic event would you look your worst competing in? That's what I want to know. Because people are like, oh yeah, gymnastics. Oh, big deal. Are you kidding me? I mean, do you think the common person could do gymnastics? I mean, the athletic accomplishment of the gymnastics people is crazy to me. The stuff that they do is crazy. I don't know how to score it. I don't know all the moves. I don't know what's great and what's not. I understand. But the athletic accomplishments of the gymnastic guys last night, it was nuts. And it's hard for, the general sports fan to say, oh, yeah, gymnastics, big deal. I get it. I know the jock fans out there say, give me a break. But I'm telling you, if you watched it, I think you got to show some respect for the athletic accomplishments. It is absolutely off the charts. So I'm going to ask you, okay, which Olympic event would you look your worst competing in? Be honest. Gymnastics, swimming, okay? You can get in the pool and race these guys, or track and field. I'm also going to ask for that one, okay? So there's three of them. I can think of a couple more. If you want to, by the way, you can tell me tonight which Olympic event is the hardest. Which is the hardest? By the way, Matt Kearney was talking to me before the show started, and I said, I'm interested to see how this poll is going to go. Which Olympic event's the hardest? Which one would you look worst in? Kearney doesn't want to do swimming. He said, he says, I'm out. That would not go well. So he's out on swimming. I've got my answer. You won't see. I couldn't even dream of doing this. I have my answer. First, let's get you on and get going. Thanks for calling. You're live, and you go ahead.
Gymnastics. And I'll tell you why. Back in 1977, I think it was, I was home on leave. A good buddy of mine, he's ended up being a great wrestling coach, Mike Denny.
Okay.
Was a JV coach at South High School. They had a kid named Jim Hartung, who was an Olympic gold medalist. Nate, I watched him beat a returning state champion, 167-pounder, and Jim Hartung pinned that kid.
Right.
That kid would be on the Iron Cross. Oh, Nate, he was NCAA all around back in 79, 80, 81, 82.
Yes.
Oh, an amazing strength.
It's crazy to me. It is crazy to me. Now, I would pay to see you do gymnastics, Steve. I will say that. I would pay something to see you do gymnastics.
You know, everybody I went to school with, from kindergarten on, including teachers, they'd all pay for that.
All right. I appreciate you. Thanks for getting in. I wanted to see where you're at. By the way, That is the number one answer. Steve is correct. Steve, you are correct. That is the number one answer. I don't think there could be any other answer. I mean, I think we're all going to look really, really bad, obviously. That's my point. When you watch the Olympic athletes, they don't get enough respect. The Olympic sports in colleges don't get enough respect. I've always said, just because football feeds the bulldog, basketball feeds the bulldog, the Olympic sports, those athletes work unbelievably hard. Yes, it's not a spectator sport along the way in all of these events, but their work ethic, their ability, their athleticism is off the charts. And I said it's just on full display, and I love seeing it. I love watching it. So which main Olympic event would you look your worst competing in? That's my number one answer. My number one answer is gymnastics. I don't even know how, it's all technique, and you got to practice. But I could try and play basketball. I guess I could try and do track and field. It wouldn't be pretty. You know, you line me up for the 400, I might die. I mean, so that might not go so well, the 400 at this point in my life. Swimming, I would flail and flop. I mean, I would compete. I would take on a lot of water, but I would I could at least swim. Could I make it length of the pool and back? Could I do that? I mean, there's some of you guys out there. I've seen you swimming. You YMCA swimmers. I mean, you guys are serious. Let's see. What are people saying? Hardest event at the Olympics. What is it? 720-1067. You send those in. 720-1067 on the Barons-Wilson text line, or call us. Steve says gymnastics. My number one answer is gymnastics. I mean, I can't even hardly jump on a trampoline and try and do a flip. I mean, I don't want to break my neck at this point. It'd be a sad thing. Listener text, I can't even walk as well as those gymnasts do on their hands. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I know. It's sad. Listener text, what about rugby? What about rugby? Well, here's the thing. I could mix it up in rugby. I might get my lung knocked loose there, so I might get hit a little bit, but I could mix it up. I'm a big old boy these days. I could mix it up. Not a lot of speed to get to the edge, but I'm okay. You got to be tougher than a $2 steak to play rugby, but the ability to do gymnastics is untouchable. The ability to do gymnastics, untouchable. Your hardest event, listener text here, water polo. Yeah, that's a tough one there. I mean, you gotta tread the water. It looks like they're just floating in the water, but they're treading, they're swimming, they're passing the ball. Guys are drowning each other to get position. I'd end up punching somebody. I mean, you're trying to drown me. It reminds me of my brother in the pool back in the day. Let's see here. 720-1067 water polo, that one. Let's see. The vote is 79%. The hardest Olympic event I would look my worst in is gymnastics. 79% of the vote. 11% swimming, 11% track and field. So very big discrepancy. Very big discrepancy. Listener text, what about badminton? Well, I could compete in that. I mean, you're trying to find some events for me that I could compete in? Badminton, I'd try rugby. I could do basketball. It wouldn't be pretty. I could do some basketball. What else? So I'm going to say gymnastics up there. Water polo, it's up there. That's a tough one. Swimming at the level you have to be at is crazy. And then track and field, everyone's like, oh, I could run around the track. I said, what would you look your worst in? I mean, how bad would we get smoked in the 400? And again, I might die. So that's just a second. Let's see. Listener text, the pommel horse equals the nutcracker. Well, yes, I get that one. I get that one. By the way, that guy did the pommel horse last night. The men's gymnastics team, he had to get a good score. He looked like a kid I just saw walk down the street here in Rapid City just yesterday. And then he was at the Olympics last night. He took off his glasses. He stepped on there. Man, he just lit it up, and he secured bronze for the men's gymnastics team. their first medal in a long time. That guy came out of nowhere. I mean, that guy was bringing it. Okay, let's see. One more on this. Nate, are we talking about wearing the same outfits for each event as well? Because the swimming outfit, well, would make a lot of folks, you know. Yeah, I know. What do you mean? I mean, I've seen those swimming outfits. Just go on vacation somewhere and you see, you know, Tom Dinglenuts walking around. It's not pretty. All right, let's go to this really quick. Okay, hardest event is gymnastics, right? We're all solid with that. There's some pretty good ones. I mean, you got some pretty good ones there. Water polo's tough. What else am I forgetting? You can let me know if any pop into your head. You think this is the hardest event in the Summer Olympics. If any pop in your head, not badminton. I mean, I could smoke people in badminton. You want to play? All right. Let's see here. Okay. I want to get to this because last night I had a coach on from Hanson. He's the longtime coach, 38 years at Hanson girls basketball. And if you missed the show yesterday, you can go to the Nate Brown Show podcast. All of the shows are there, so you can listen to it. His name's Jim Bridge, all-time winningest girls high school basketball coach. 636 wins, 38 years as a head coach. I had him on because I just wanted to talk about why did he step away now? What are the challenges like today than 20 years ago? And the conversation there. Very open and honest. It was interesting. We took it long into the second hour and the whole thing. So that was last night. And then I'm looking at how coaching is changing here in South Dakota. And this is jumping out to me. There are younger and younger coaches. There are more and more inexperienced coaches that are getting high school varsity head coaching jobs. And so I took a step back. I go, we have this class and some of the old guard here. And I mean, Jim Bridge, 38 years, and he said, it's just time to call it good, which I get. But I'm telling you, I think there's younger and younger coaches getting the head jobs very quickly. I would think quicker than maybe back in the day because there's less coaches that want to coach. You follow what I'm saying? So there's two things going on in South Dakota high school sports, not just unique to South Dakota, I don't think, but high school sports. Two things. Refs are getting few and far between. The old guys are tapping out, and younger guys aren't filling the gap as much. That is the same story in high school coaching. And it's no longer, I'm not seeing kids out of college getting assistant jobs. I am, but I'm now seeing kids out of college, right out of college. There's 23 years old, right out of college, just graduated as a head varsity coach. And so I said, where's this going? Is this just where we're at? Because you don't have time to learn at the freshman level, the JV level. We need a varsity coach. We're at a small school, whatever it is. We got to fill this thing. We're in the middle of South Dakota. There's not a lot of people around here. We're hiring a teacher to teach math, and they're going to coach. Sorry, you're the varsity coach. Well, what do you mean? I haven't coached before. Yep, here you go. And we're seeing it. And so my question is to you, when you look at it as sports fans, how young, I guess, is too young to be a varsity high school coach? My point is, can you be an effective varsity coach? No experience, JV, freshman, none of that stuff. You go right graduating college in May and coaching a varsity sport right now. Can you be an effective varsity coach right out of college? That's my second question of the day. I'd like you to fill me in on that. I want you to tell me where you're at on that piece, okay? Because we're seeing it. It's not just made up stuff. We're actually seeing it. Younger coaches, yes, are taking jobs, which we need. But we're seeing really, really young coaches also get varsity head coaching jobs. And I think there's a couple of factors that you have to consider. Do they know the relationship dynamic? Okay, they haven't coached before. It's not just about knowing the game. Well, I played, it could be I played, so I know what's going on. Not really. So there's the relationship factor. How do you cultivate that? Build the culture, and then there's just the maturity of how do you deal with the politics, the parents, that scene when you're just getting out of college. I have a lot of respect for people that are trying this. 23 years old, becoming a varsity head coach. I know it's just South Dakota high school sports, but there's a lot of people think it's the NBA Finals, right? So a lot of people are like, man, we got to have a great coach. The problem is the old guys are retiring. The younger guys are coming in not nearly at the level that we used to see. Jobs in this state, they become open, and I've heard it. I've talked to ADs, so it's not made up. I've talked to ADs. They say there's not near as many applicants. There is not near. So what ends up happening? It's like, well, we're just going to have to go with this person. Now, a lot of times, maybe that person turns out. Some people say, hey, you got to get an opportunity at some time. So if you're 23 years old, how are you going to learn how to coach if you don't get an opportunity? My point is, I would absolutely love to see you start JV, sophomore, freshman, whatever it is, and whatever sport. I would love to have the kids right out of college start there, learn, get a mentor. It's not just an easy thing. I'm going to be a varsity head coach right out of college. I know what I'm doing. I think that's a tough road, and I think it's a lot to ask. What do you say, though? That's our question of the day. We'll get to Kelvin Torvey coming up next from Brookings. Younger coaches taking jobs in South Dakota. Do you think someone that just graduated college can be a effective varsity head coach? Varsity. That's my question of the day. 720-1067. Listener reaction here. Let's go to a couple, and then I'll get to Kelvin Torvey. Honestly, it depends on the person, just like anything else. I've seen some fresh out of college coaches that were ready. I've seen some with years of experience that weren't ready. Okay? Listener reaction from a coach. This is from a coach. Depends on the school. A really small school with a good assistant coach, yes, young coaches can do it. A big school with lots of different levels, no. Another one from a coach here. Need a focused athletic director and build coaching culture. Need some funds for professional development, as well as some grace to succeed and fail with ongoing support. And last one, it has to be understood the first year needs mentoring. The first year head coach needs mentoring. So often schools just throw a new coach out there with no help, and they're unprepared. Everyone suffers. I think that's fair. I think that's fair. So I'm seeing it right out of college here in South Dakota this school year. Right out of college. They just graduated in May, and now they're a varsity head coach. That's a tough one. That's a tough one. Listener text, coaching has become far more political than before. Not much pay, so the older coach says, I'm not going to put up with it and all the outside noise. Yeah, I mean, it's not becoming easier. It's becoming harder. The poll question results look like this. Do you think someone that just graduated college can be an effective varsity head coach in South Dakota? 61% of you, over 100 votes so far here. 61% say yes, they can bring fresh ideas and energy. 39% say no, that's too young. All right, something interesting we notice here. South Dakota high school sports, some of the young coaches. I think they need mentors. I think they need to start at JV, not quite the situation of a varsity level. Learn along the way. Doesn't mean they can't make it, but we'll see. A lot of young coaches stepping in for South Dakota high school sports. Coming right back, Kelvin Torvey kicks off the show. He's live in Brookings. We have post-22 baseball tonight. They're at the state tournament opening game. We'll talk to Coach Torvey next.
This is South Dakota's sports talk show, The Nate Brown Show, on FoxSportsRapidCity.com and live on 106.7 FM and 1150 AM. Fox Sports Rapid City.
Santa in the pool? Oh my! Renewal by Anderson's incredible Christmas in July 2024 event is so great that even Santa is shocked. 20% off, no money down, no interest, no payments for 18 months. No payments until 2026. Windows, patio, and entry doors from Renewal by Anderson. And Renewal's Acclaim and Ensemble lines are the best of the best. Imagine no payments until 26. Please visit RBARapidCity.com now. It's Christmas in July at Renewal by Anderson. It's so good even Santa is shocked.
We are number one, so you can always be their number one. Black Hills Surgical Hospital and Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center. The number one hospital in the nation for major orthopedic surgery.
Find their work.
Warren Chemical and Equipment Company has a 5-step lawn care program to make your lawn the best it can be. Let Warren take care of your lawn weeds, plus 5 applications of fertilizer and micronutrients for a green, healthy lawn. We also offer lawn aeration to help your lawn breathe. Warren's 5-Step Lawn Pro Service is the original lawn service company in Rapid City. Single applications of weed and feed or just lawn weeds are also available. Call Warren Chemical and Equipment Company for an estimate on our 5-step lawn care program for your lawn. Phone 342-7644.
Here's your Fox Sports Rapid City forecast. Slight chance of thunderstorms tonight, otherwise partly cloudy skies. Lows level off around 66, northwesterly winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Chance of thunderstorms tomorrow, daytime highs approaching 89, mainly sunny skies. Lows level off around 62. Tomorrow night, mainly clear. That's your forecast on the Black Hills Sports Station, Fox Sports Rapid City. Right now, 94.
At Fleet Farm, we know every sunny day doesn't begin and end with us. But if it did, we've got you covered. Everyday fishing gear from Rapala, Berkeley, and Minn Kota. Everyday grilling goods from Weber, Kingsford, and Blackstone. Everyday camping gear from Coleman, Yeti, and Eureka. Whatever makes your day, we're right there with you. At Fleet Farm, we've got everything you need for everyday life.
Hi, this is Dr. Dan Jensen at Physio. We want to be your trusted partner for physical therapy, athlete development, and sports rehab. As the official strength and conditioning partners for Stevens, Central, Douglas, and the Rapid City Rush, our team at Physio is building the best athletes in the Black Hills. If you have an athlete in the family, we offer long-term athlete development at affordable prices for middle and high school students. We also have the only board-certified sports PT in Rapid City. At our brand new facility, Physio is ready to help you perform at your best. One-on-one physical therapy, athlete development, and sports rehab, all at one place. Get started at bhphysio.com.
Hi, this is Dan Patrick. Remember to catch me weekday mornings from 7 until 10 a.m. right here on 106.7 FM and 1150 a.m. Fox Sports Rapid City. And now, back to Rapid City's sports talk show, The Nate Brown Show.
All right, welcome back in. Fun night tonight here on Fox Sports Rapid City. The Nate Brown Show leading up to opening game of the State A Legion Baseball Tournament. Live coverage tonight on Fox Sports Rapid City. You can hear it. The Hard Hats trying to go for their state title out in Brookings. They're taking on the host team tonight. We'll have first pitch about 6 o'clock Mountain. First pitch. Our announcer tonight, Brent Bowen, covers South Dakota State baseball, so we got a good one for you. He'll bring the live coverage tonight. Brent Bowen joining live. Matt Kearney, part of the broadcast team, so we got you covered tonight. Opening game coming up, and he's getting ready. Kelvin Torvey's on. Let's get him before he gets the guys ready to go tonight. Post 22 head coach Kelvin Torvey from Brookings. Coach, good to have you. How are you?
Doing well, Nate. Hope you are.
I'm doing good, man. So you're moments away here. You've done this a lot. What's it feel like? You ever lose butterflies or anything like that? How do you feel?
Just excited. I'm excited for the guys. This is about the players, and this is a chance to, to go after the 45th state championship. But, you got to win tonight, or you got to play well tonight. Let me rephrase that. and we're playing the host team, and there's going to be a big crowd, and there's going to be a lot of excitement and energy. So I'm just looking forward to it, and I'm excited to be a part of it.
Kelvin Torvey, Post-22 head coach. Let's look at the whole season. I've talked to you a lot every week, darn near, and you talked about you had that hot streak, really good streak, and then maybe came back to normal. You still won a lot, but got clipped a couple of times. That's baseball. How do you feel these guys are? You had your final practice kind of run through on Sunday. You went out to Brookings yesterday. How do you feel the mindset is of this team?
I think it's good. We practiced Sunday, had a horrible practice, which encouraged me because it seems like, 3 state championships with the varsity. I had one with the cadets. It seems like the last game or the last practice before those state tournaments, we were horrible. So, if you're the superstitious sort, that's a good sign. And so I think we're in a good spot. The bus is the guys understand what's at stake here. How important this is, and the bus ride down to Brookings yesterday was a little more quiet than usual. It was a little more quiet today on the bus, and so we're a heavy senior laden team, and so we know not only what's at stake but what we need to do. We played big games all summer. And most of them we won. We've won 5 out of our last 6 games. We beat Huron by playing well. So, I think we're ready, and it's just time to roll them out there and see how we do.
Kelvin Torvey on tonight from Brookings. You said you're playing the host team. You've played them before. You handled them. It is baseball, but what does that tell you from the first time you played them?
Nothing. Those games mean absolutely nothing. This was early in the year. They had a couple of super seniors come back. But the variable here that we didn't have in Rapid is their crowd. It's the first game of the state tournament. Brookings is hosting it. The crowd's going to be huge. Brookings is going to be amped up. So, we need to match that energy. Lee Negabar is going to start for us. He needs to go out there and make a statement, from the first pitch. And so, like I said, it's state championship tournament, and it's a lot of fun.
How'd you decide on Lee Negabar? He's been a great pitcher for you. How'd you decide, and what does he bring?
But he throws strikes. He's left-handed. He's got pretty good velocity, but his changeup's his best pitch, and he just competes. There have been a couple times where he's kind of bumped his head against the pitch count. He had a complete game going, and we had to go take him out, and he wasn't happy. So he's a competitor, which is what you want in situations like this. There's been a number of starts where he didn't have his best stuff, but yet he battled and competed and got us into the 5th and 6th innings. So he's our best pitcher, and we're going to go with him. And every team in this tournament, to this point, has used their ace in game 1, and Dave Fluke used to do that. So, you can't improve on Dave Fluke, so that's what we're going to do.
How about those other games? I was watching it today, Coach, and you're worried about your guys and what you need to do, but Sioux Falls East, they got upset, if you can call it that, by Watertown. Then Renner gets taken to extra innings by Yankton, and Renner did pull that one out, but we're talking about a field here that maybe looks like there's some parity.
Yeah, there's parity. There's 8 good teams here. This ballpark, the ball doesn't carry very well, so it's going to be a pitching defensive, at least today anyway. The Watertown game was 1 run. Renner game was 1 run. I'm watching Harrisburg and Brandon Valley, and Harrisburg just scored in the bottom of the 6th to make it 2-0. So it's going to be a tight game tonight, and so like I said, it's going to be fun. It's going to be an exciting evening.
All right, I'll let you run with this. Just 15 losses on the year, Coach. People are kind of looking at this Post-22 team saying, is this one of the better ones win-loss-wise you've had in a while?
It is. Probably the other one was 2020, the COVID year. We had a really good record that year. I don't remember what it was. In 2018, my first year, when we had Cooper Bowman, we had a record similar to this. So it's probably one of the top 2 or 3. And believe me, it's been a lot of fun. It's fun winning baseball games. And so these guys they're old, they're high character guys. They know what it takes to win a baseball game. So, I think we're well positioned.
Okay, last one, and then I'll let you run. I did a poll out there on South Dakota sports fans, and I said, who's going to win the State A Legion tournament, Coach? And 46% of the audience picked you guys. So you're the favorites?
Well, wonderful. Let's go out there and prove them right.
All right. Thanks, Coach. We'll have the game. Good luck to you. I appreciate you.
Nate, thanks so much. You have a good evening.
All right. Kelvin Torvey tonight from Brookings, Post-22 head coach. They're getting set for the game tonight. We'll have it. Brent Bowen, our play-by-play man. He's part of the South Dakota State Network and covers the Jackrabbits baseball team. So we got him tonight bringing Hard Hats baseball, not only tonight, but every game of the State Aid Legion tournament on Fox Sports Rapid City. We'll start that broadcast about 5:40, somewhere in there, as we get set. So the games are moving along. It's Brookings Post 22. Here's that poll question. Who's the pick to win the South Dakota State Aid Legion baseball tournament? I sent it across South Dakota. We have over 100 votes. 45% now say Post 22, 41% Harrisburg, 8% Renner, 6% Sioux Falls East. That's how that goes. Harrisburg's the number 1 seed. Post 22 playing tonight as the number 2 seed, taking on Brookings. Let's go down to Denver. Benjamin Albright waiting in the wings, covering the Broncos at Broncos training camp. He's with the Broncos home station, KOA. Benjamin Albright with his rankings of which quarterback has the lead in Denver. Albright's next.
This is the Nate Brown Show.
As the chief buffet officer here at Pizza Ranch, I get all kinds of buffet questions. Here's one from Cole.
Is there a real cactus in your cactus bread?
Great question, Cole. No, there is no cactus in our cactus bread, just sweet cinnamony streusel. It's on our buffet every day, along with pizza, chicken, ice cream, and all your other favorites. Even better, at least for your parents, kids eat free on Tuesday nights. And don't worry, Cole, there's no coal in our coleslaw either.
Pizza Ranch with 2 Rapid City locations and pizzaranch.com.
At Black Hills Federal Credit Union, we are committed to improving the lives of our members and bettering our communities. As your community credit union, we're here to get to know you and your unique needs. From extended service hours to the newest technology, we have you covered. Stop by any location to get started or text or call 605-718-1818. BHFCU is member-owned, not-for-profit, and federally insured by the NCUA.
The next best thing to a new Toyota is a certified pre-owned Toyota, and we have them at Danny Menho Toyota. Shop a nice selection of certified pre-owned Toyotas and get financing as low as 6.39% APR for up to 60 months on Camrys, RAV4s, Highlanders, and Corollas. Shop the area's best selection of used Toyotas and Toyota certified pre-owned at Danny Menho Toyota or DannyMenhoToyota.com. 1951 per 1,000 finance regardless of down payment with qualified credit. Expires 9/3/24.
This isn't just the sound of a legendary Brunswick pool table. It's the sound of families about to make memories together. And while this may sound like the hum of a spa, listen closely and you'll hear backyard fun for years to come. So while Splash City's guarantee of quality sure sounds good, we know quality time sounds even better.
Who wants another burger? Splash City, 1024 West Omaha, across from Connects in Rapid City.
We all know life's busy, and if you get sick, you can get behind pretty quick. That's where Black Hills Urgent Care comes in. No appointments needed, no long waits, just fast, affordable care to get you feeling better quicker. Black Hills Urgent Care has 2 locations in Rapid City on Haynes Avenue and Mountain View Road. You can simply check in online at bhucare.com. That's with the letter U, bhucare.com. When you need care, see the team at Black Hills Urgent Care, the faster way to get better.
Where can you get surprisingly great rates on auto and renter's insurance? At State Farm. I'm State Farm agent Matt McCormick, and I'm your one-stop shop in Rapid City for protecting your car and your stuff for surprisingly great rates. So stop looking around. Call me, State Farm agent Matt McCormick, for surprisingly great auto and renter's rates today. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Individual premiums will vary by customer. All applicants subject to State Farm underwriting requirements.
Ever since Barron's Wilson Funeral Home first opened their doors in Rapid City 140 years ago, they have continued to make personal service their #1 priority. In your time of grief, they offer a personal touch by being at your side through every step of the funeral process. They answer difficult questions and guide you toward other professional services you may need. See for yourself the wide variety of services they can provide for you by visiting their website at barronswilson.com.
Hi, this is David Brenneman with Coldwell Banker Black Hills Legacy in Rapid City. Have you thought about buying a home or real estate in the Black Hills? Maybe you want to upgrade to your forever home? I have been helping people in the Black Hills find the right home for nearly 20 years.
When it comes to buying or selling, experience matters. Let me do the work, and you can open the door to your new home. Say hello to a good buy with me, David Brenneman. To get started, just Google David Brenneman, Coldwell Banker.
Hey, this is Rob Parker from The Odd Couple. Don't miss our show weeknights from 6 to 8 p.m. right here on Fox Sports Rapid City. And now we'll send you back to Rapid City Sports Talk Show, The Nate Brown Show.
All right, welcome back in. Glad you're here. South Dakota Sports Talk Show live weekdays 4 to 6. Tonight we'll go about 5:35. What's going on? Well, State Legion baseball coverage live tonight. Post 22 at Brookings. Taking on Brookings tonight, the first round of the State Legion baseball tournament. Live coverage. South Dakota State play-by-play man Brent Bowen. He covers the Jackrabbits baseball team when they're playing. So we got him tonight from Brookings. Live coverage. He'll bring it to you tonight, coming up about 5:35. A lot of work to do. Until then, here on South Dakota Sports Talk Show with Benjamin Albright, we got him. Man, he's working. Broncos training camp underway. The official flagship for the Broncos is KOA. Benjamin Albright, part of the team there. He's on X Twitter. Good follow at Albright NFL. Benjamin, good to have you back on. How are you?
Doing pretty well. You know, my high school mascot was the Jackrabbit, so I've always got a soft spot for South Dakota State.
I like that, man. That's a rare deal. High school Jackrabbits, and now a South Dakota State fan you've been turned into. Let me get your reaction. Let's go down to Broncos training camp. Everybody wants to know the scene down there. Before I go to the quarterback thing, what's the this word vibe? What's the vibe like, Benjamin Albright, at Broncos training camp?
Hopeful, optimistic, maybe. I think anytime you draft a quarterback in the first round, I think you sort of get a fan, hopeful vibe out of that. Year two of Sean Payton, the Russ Wilson era is kind of behind them, so it's kind of like starting over. I think is kind of the vibe.
Okay, so are fans thinking this is a competitive team? Are fans thinking this is a competitive rebuild, or is this a rebuild? What do you see from the roster?
Well, I mean, it's a rebuild for sure. Competitive, I think they'll be more competitive. I don't know what necessarily you mean by that. If you're saying, this is a team that's a championship contender, I would say no. If you think that this is a team that can win football games, finish above 500, I would say that possibility exists. So maybe even the playoffs, if all bounces right, your way a few times this year. So I think it's a better team than the national pundits have certainly laid out, but I don't think they're in danger of backdooring their way into a Super Bowl.
Benjamin Albright tonight from Broncos training camp, part of KOA. His show's on there. Find him on Twitter, X at Albright NFL. So you just tweeted the quarterback, if the season starts today, we've only had a few practices, but if the season starts today, and you go Jarrett Stidham 1, Bo Nix 2, and then there was some space, and you said Zach Wilson. You tell me what you've seen.
Well, I mean, Jarrett Stidham, who's been in this offense for a year, been around these coaches, been around these players for a year, just has a better command of the offense. He's not. He knows what each play is supposed to be. He's making fewer mistakes, and he just has better command of it. That's not to say that Bo Nix won't be the starter by week one, but two padded practices in, Jarrett Stidham's clearly ahead of the other guys. I mean, some of these guys, they're still making mistakes in the play calls and stuff like that. In fact, Zach Wilson's even wearing a wristband in practice. It's not, that's not an indictment of either of the other two quarterbacks. It's just to say Jarrett Stidham being number one should be happening. If you got a year in the system versus a couple of weeks, that should be the way that plays out. In terms of number two, Bo Nix looks better than Zach Wilson. Zach's got better tools, better athleticism, a better arm than any of the other guys on this roster, but his consistency is just all over the map. You'll see a wow throw, and then you'll see 5 more wow throws in the different direction. And so it's one of those scenarios where you hope Zach Wilson and the guy that he is and the guy that he could be meet, but right now they just haven't, and you've got a wildly inconsistent player. Bo's pretty sharp kid. I mean, he doesn't have the best tools in the world, does have a little athleticism, but, you know, he's a guy that doesn't make the same mistake twice. And I think that's what's most impressive about him is that he learns so well. And so right now, while he's a little bit behind the curve, I do expect him to be the starter at some point this year, whether that's next year, next month, in December, who knows? But I do expect him to be the starter at some point this year.
What's the feeling like around Courtland Sutton? There was some hesitancy there, wondering about a deal. He's been showing up. What do you think of Courtland Sutton so far?
Well, he showed back up and been the leader that he is. I don't expect him to be back there next year. They didn't do anything to his contract, really. They added some incentives. You know, if you haven't hit those incentives, you can make a couple extra $1 million, but 1.5 extra. But nothing. They haven't done anything to his contract. They didn't add any guaranteed money or any of that. So I think he understands that he's not long for this roster. And if he comes along and has a great year, that he can get a big contract somewhere else. But I don't think he's going to be back in Denver after this season.
Who do you feel is the leader of the offensive unit right now?
Courtland and Tim Patrick probably for the skill position players, and Quinn Meinert's on that offensive line. Quinn's come a long way in the few years since he got here from Wisconsin Whitewater, and he's emerged as almost an all pro caliber guard. Just got the big contracts. I would suggest that they're probably leaders. Then Jarrett Stidham. I mean, Stidham's been around a while. He's been around. He's the oldest of the quarterbacks, and sort of has taken that apart himself to mentor the other two.
Benjamin Albright tonight from Broncos training camp. His show's on KOA. He's here on the Nate Brown Show. A couple more I'll let you run. I want to get your perspective. You said you expect Bo Nix to play, maybe not right away, but you expect him to play. The big, conversation out there is, well, you got to play Bo Nix right now. What's your argument to say, no, Sean Payton doesn't have to do that?
I mean, you wouldn't take a turkey out of the oven just because the mashed potatoes are done. If the turkey's not done, you don't take it out and you don't eat it. You don't throw a baby in the pool before it's ready to swim. Same thing with a quarterback, Last thing you want to do is shell-shock a guy throwing him out there before he's ready. Get him confident, get him competent in the offense, and then slowly start to put him out there. There's no rush. There's no expectation this year. There's no pressure. So, the idea that you have to play him this year is absurd. I think, you just want to build him up and then put him out there in the best possible position to succeed. If you want an example of what just throwing a guy out there can do, well, you can look at QB3 on this roster and Zach Wilson and what happened with the Jets.
Okay, so the question is, if the Broncos don't have a good season, if they have a bad season, and Bo Nix doesn't play that much, would we not know if Bo Nix can play? And then what do you do?
Well, he'll play this year. I mean, he'll start this year at some point. You get down late in the season, and he'll have this thing down, and you'll play him, and you'll know. You're not going to go into next year not knowing. If it's slower developing than you think, then maybe November, December, you're throwing him out there instead of maybe September, October. But I wouldn't be surprised even if you get through the first 4 games of the season and then you kind of turn it over to him. He might even have it week 1. Who knows? But right now he's behind Jarrett Stidham, and I'm not worried about it.
Which looks better, the defense or the offense? A lot of times this time of year, it's the defense. What do you think of it?
Oh, defense, hands down. Especially with this revamped defensive line, I think the Broncos are going to surprise some people because this defensive line is good. I mean, really good. They added John Franklin Myers. They brought in Malcolm Roach, Angelo Blackson. You've got Zach Allen over there. They let Mike Purcell go. DJ Jones is still there. And they kind of changed up what they're doing. They used to kind of run that Vic Fangio defense, which is quarters match, middle of the field open, then don't break style of defense. It's a tight front with a 0 tech and 2-4 eyes. And now, they're going to be running something a lot closer to what Wade Phillips ran. Vance Joseph comes off the Wade Phillips tree. He tried continuity last year, running what Fangio and Avero ran, and it just wasn't a great match. So you're going to see an attacking defense this year, and that defensive line, it's good. It's a lot better than it's been in a long time.
Okay, Benjamin Albright, John Elway was on a podcast and said, biggest mistake I made, not taking Josh Allen. What's your reaction, honestly, to that?
Well, I mean, you sort of have to say that with the benefit of hindsight, right? The reality is, at the time, things were a little bit different. The Broncos were a little gun-shy because they just come off drafted Paxton Lynch, a big, tall, toolsy guy from a small school. That didn't work out. And then, you had DeMarcus Ware retiring, Von Miller coming up on a contract, Shaq Barrett was coming up on a contract, and Bradley Chubb fell in your lap when Cleveland took Denzel Ward. So, at the time, that situation was a little bit different. I sort of get saying that now, but At the time, nobody was saying the Broncos should take Josh Allen. That's just something we all say with the benefit of hindsight. Good for John Elway for being honest about it. But the reality is, I don't think anybody could hold that against him. Nobody knew what Josh Allen was going to become.
Benjamin Albright, Broncos training camp for the coverage, KOA. He's on X, Twitter at Albright NFL. A great follow as always. Thanks for coming on. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, sir. Take care.
Appreciate it. Benjamin Albright on the Nate Brown Show from Broncos training camp. It's as close as you can get. He's got great access from the flagship station of the Broncos, KOA. Benjamin Albright in tonight on the Nate Brown Show. All right. Although I do have to disagree with his, he said nobody thought Josh Allen was going to be what he is today. He said nobody. Well, come on. Let's go back to the archives. Come on, Matt Kearney. Let's go back to the archives. Even Matt gives me a little credit. He doesn't give me much, but he gives me a little credit. Who did say Josh Allen before that pick? Who did say Josh Allen should be the pick? I don't know. It's just some guy here in Rapid City hosts a radio show. I mean, he doesn't know crap. But I said that, and should I get some love on that now? I mean, can I get some love at all? I had a buddy of mine send me that clip from Elway. I already saw it yesterday, but John Elway did go on a podcast with the, with the Barstool guys or something. And so John Elway said, the biggest mistake I made as a GM was not taking Josh Allen. And he took Bradley Chubb. Whoops. And I'm not convinced. Everybody said, oh, if the Broncos took Josh Allen, he wouldn't be as good as he is today. Huh? I mean, it's Josh Allen. He's 6'5", unbelievable athlete, talent, arm, competitiveness, leadership. I mean, he would have been who he is, and the Broncos would be in a totally different place. So I just got to, just 1 point for me. That's all. I mean, just 1 point. Give me a score like the gymnastics guy. Just give me 1 point. I did say the Broncos should have took Josh Allen. They were scared because of the Paxton Lynch debacle. That was a mess. And so John Elway missed. It was a big whiff. And the Broncos haven't been the same ever since. And everyone say, well, hindsight now. He said, yeah, I mean, that was his guy. He was right there in Wyoming. His type of player. John Elway went and watched him. John Elway, that was the pick. Now he says, well, that was probably my biggest mistake. Thanks, John. 5 years too late. All right. That's why I like John, but, that was a big one. That was a big one. And now the next one, Bo Nix. How about Benjamin Albright there saying Bo Nix, he'll start at some point. Benjamin saying Bo Nix will start at some point this year. I'm saying, again, just a little radio show from Rapid City, I'm saying Bo Nix starts week 1, September. Book it. Book it. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Bo Nix, week 1, starting. Book it. Sean Payton's not going to let, it took Bo Nix. I'm gonna let Jarrett Stidham start. No. All right, let's go to a report. We jump around the NFL. We've been to a lot of teams. We're trying to cover them all. How about Atlanta with your boy Kirk Cousins in the fresh start? What do we think of the Falcons and Kirk Cousins? John Michaels, morning host for 680 The Fan, live from Atlanta on Cousins next.
You're listening to The Nate Brown Show. Follow us and watch the show live on Twitter at Nate Brown Show.
Santa in the pool? Oh my. Renewal by Anderson's incredible Christmas in July 2024 event is so great that even Santa is shocked. 20% off, no money down, no interest, no payments for 18 months. No payments until 2026. Windows, patio, and entry doors from Renewal by Anderson. And Renewal's Acclaim and Ensemble lines are the best of the best. Imagine no payments until 26. Please visit RBARapidCity.com now. It's Christmas in July at Renewal by Anderson. It's so good even Santa is shocked.
We are number one. So you can always be their number one. Black Hills Surgical Hospital and Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center. The number one hospital in the nation for major orthopedic surgery.
Pomp's Tire Service is your low-price headquarters for all major tire brands. We buy tires manufactured direct and sell to you for less. Right now, get up to $265 in rebates on Goodyear, up to $160 in rebates on Bridgestone, or up to $150 in rebates on Firestone. Pomp's Tire won't be undersold. Hurry, offers end July 31st. See store for details. Visit us online at pompstire.com. Pomps, we know tires and service. You should know Pomps.
Here's your Fox Sports Rapid City forecast. Slight chance of thunderstorms tonight, otherwise partly cloudy skies. Lows level off around 66, northwesterly winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Chance of thunderstorms tomorrow, daytime highs approaching 89, mainly sunny skies. Lows level off around 62. Tomorrow night, mainly clear. That's your forecast on the Black Hills Sports Station, Fox Sports Rapid City. Right now, 94.
At Denny Meadow Rapid Chevrolet, we took in a lot full of great trades during our super sale. Now they gotta go to make room for new Chevy inventory. Shop the Black Hills' best selection of used cars, trucks, and SUVs, plus GM certified pre-owned. Over 300 you can buy with no money down and no payments for 90 days with qualified credit and all credit apps accepted. Choose from GMCs, Rams, Fords, imports, and more. See us at Denny Meadow Rapid Chevrolet or DennyMeadowRapidChevrolet.com.
We're all going somewhere. Going higher, faster, farther. Going in new directions, to new places. At Monument Health, we keep going so you can keep going. We're dedicated to advanced orthopedic care with the latest innovations, technology, expertise, and treatment. So keep exploring, keep making memories, keep going with Monument Health as your partner. Learn more at monument.health/orthopedics.
Live from the Anytime Auto Sales Service and Details Studio. Sales, service, and recreation. This is Fox Sports Rapid City.
Welcome back in. The Nate Brown Show is South Dakota Sports Talk Show live, weekdays 4 to 6. Brought to you in part by Spearfish Motors. At Spearfish Motors, the brand new 2024 GMCs and Cadillacs are there. Great selection. Have you seen the new GMC Sierra pickups, light duty, heavy duty trucks? They've got them at Spearfish Motors. That's the place for the Yukons, the Canyons, the Terrains, all Cadillac models. Locally owned. It makes a difference. Stop by Spearfish Motors, 1910 North Main, Spearfish. Start online, spearfishmotors.com. All right, we're going around the NFL. We've been to a lot of markets, trying to cover them all. I mean, we're getting close. We haven't been to Atlanta yet. You know I'm the president of the Kirk Cousins fan club here in the Black Hills, right? I mean, it's a club. We had like 3 members. I'm the president. I stick up for Kirk Cousins. You guys know this. He's out of Minnesota. Let's go to Atlanta. The new chapter of Kirk Cousins, John Michaels. He's on in the morning on 680 The Fan, so it's good to have him. Has a good show down there, 680 The Fan. He's on the Nate Brown Show tonight. John, thanks for hopping on. Appreciate the time. How are you?
Doing great. I can say this is the first time, and I've done radio everywhere from Alaska to Canada. I've done shows in England. I've never been on in South Dakota, so
wow.
I'm glad you could pop my cherry and have me come on up there.
Okay, we got you. We're right here at the base of Mount Rushmore, John, okay? Give you a little perspective, okay?
Nice.
You haven't been to Mount Rushmore, I take it?
No, I've been to Minnesota back when I did radio with the Falcons. I actually got to go up there. Unfortunately, didn't get to see the new stadium, and it was the first game of the Teddy Bridgewater era where they played in the old Minnesota, I guess the Golden Gophers Stadium, and Teddy Bridgewater lit the Falcons up like a pack of cigarettes. So that was the only time I got to go up there.
All right. Come on up sometime. Mount Rushmore, the Shrine of Democracy. Okay. John Michaels on tonight, 680 The Fan. So I was joking around. My audience knows I've been a Kirk Cousins guy, not like super fan, but a guy because I felt like he got the raw deal. Everybody says he's mediocre. I said I think he's more in the verge of top 10 QB. His stats are always last year was top 5. So I look at the Falcons bringing in Kirk Cousins. What do you say your listeners are expecting with the deal with Kirk Cousins?
Some in line what we got out of Matt Ryan, not the last couple of years with Arthur Smith when the franchise was really in a bad place, with cap situation, but I think they're expecting 2016, 2017, 2012, where the offense is going to put up 25 to 28 points a game, and they're really going to give us a chance to win every single week. I think Kirk gives you, obviously, that experience of playing at a very high level in Minnesota. You talk about the numbers. I mean, before the Achilles last year, he was the best quarterback statistically in the NFL, and then the Achilles unfortunately popped on him. And he's got weapons to work with in Atlanta. I kind of am a little bit lesser than where you were with Kirk Cousins fandom. I thought there was a little bit of realness to him being choky when it came to the postseason, although the Vikings defense definitely let him down a couple of years ago against the Giants. I thought he put up some tremendous numbers, but I also thought there were times in bigger moments he didn't put up his best effort. But what the Falcons have missed in quarterback play, Kirk Cousins is such an improvement from Desmond Ridder, who's barely an NFL quarterback, and Marcus Mariota, who's one of the preeminent busts over the last 20 years, being picked number 2 overall. So I like the direction what we have. I like having Kirk Cousins here. He's looked good so far the first couple of days of training camp. You know, obviously no ill effects from the Achilles. And come another month, a month and a half from now, I think the Falcons got the right guy to lead them and get them back in the playoffs for the first time since 2017.
John Michaels on tonight. He is on every morning, 680 The Fan out of Atlanta. He's on X Twitter at John Michaels U. He's a Miami guy. Yes, John Michaels U. I got it. Okay, I want to ask you what the fans are going to think if Kirk Cousins goes out. I mean, what does he need to do? You said, well, let's score 25 points, 28 points. So let's put up points. What are the fans going to do if Kirk Cousins doesn't perform like he did in Minnesota, which statistically was at a really high level? Is he going to be under a lot of pressure now that Michael Penix is there?
I don't think immediately. Fans are different than what the organization thinks. The organization wants Michael Penix for 2 or 3 years from now. I don't think they have any plans to play him this year, barring disaster. And I'm talking about major injury, you know, Kirk Cousins going out and throwing 15 interceptions in the first 5 games, things that aren't really in his MO. But I think fans are going to be very impatient because of the money. And I think you guys know it up there as well as we know down here. Fans look at $180 million, even though that's not the true value of the contract when you really dissect it. And they're going to expect greatness right away. You know, I lived through every minute of Matt Ryan's era here in Atlanta, from the day he was drafted to the day he was traded to Indianapolis. And I could tell you, the times that he didn't go throw for 350 and 3 touchdowns, the fans turned on him immediately. You're not Mike Vick. You're not good enough to be our quarterback. I mean, heck, he had a perfect passer rating in the Super Bowl, yet everybody blames him for the 28-3 debacle that ended up costing the team their first championship. I think Kirk just needs to go out and do his thing. As long as he doesn't turn it over a bunch, fans are going to have his back. I saw today the Falcons sold out their allotment of season tickets for the first time since they've been in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. That stadium opened up all the way back in 2017, so they're excited. We've got a really good home schedule with a lot of premier teams coming in, and Kirk Cousins is the main reason that this fan base is fired up.
Okay, so he had great weapons in Minnesota, John. Really good. I think the weapons are good in Atlanta. You tell me how good.
They can be great. They're not Justin Jefferson. I mean, you're talking about a kid who was otherworldly. I loved KJ Osborne when he was there. He's a Miami guy. So any Kane I would cheer for. Dalvin Cook, obviously, when he was there in his prime, was absolutely fantastic. But you think about what the Falcons have invested draft capital-wise over the last couple of years. Fourth overall, you take Kyle Pitts. The last 2 years, he's been injured. I mean, his knee, he was dragging his knee around everywhere, and he looks refreshed. Picked up the 5th-year option, so they know they've got him for this year and next. And I think he realizes he wants a long-term deal. I think Kyle could be a special tight end with a guy that can get him the ball now in Kirk Cousins. Drake London, I put the bar at 90 catches for 1,200 for this year. And my co-hosts have kind of looked at me like I'm a crazy person because he hasn't been close to that. But I said, go back and look at the amount of balls that he was open, and Mariota airmails it, or Desmond Ridder 2 hops it, and he can't get him the ball. Kirk, you know, is deadly accurate when he gets to that 5th or 7th step, and he's going to let the ball fly. So I think Drake has potential to be great. And Bijan Robinson, to me, is already a top 10 running back, if not higher, in the NFL. A year ago, he had almost 1,500 yards total from scrimmage, including catching the ball out of the backfield. And again, that was with 0 quarterback play whatsoever. I put his bar at about 1,700 total yards. You've got a backup running back in Tyler Algier, who's a former 1,000-yard back 2 years ago, so a really deadly 1-2 punch, and a pretty damn good offensive line now. that they've invested a lot of capital in that over the last 10 years. I think they can be pretty good. The straw that you need is the guy to pull the trigger and get the right ball into the right people's hands, and I think Kirk is that guy. I think you have a chance to be a top 9, top 8 type offense. Not Dolphin good, not necessarily San Francisco good, but right outside of there.
Has Kirk handled that Michael Penix Jr. controversy? People were trying to stir it up. Man, they picked Penix, and they just signed Kirk. Is that done now?
Yeah, it's done. Arthur Blank, our owner, addressed the media today, and he said offline or online that there was a conversation before the draft that the Falcons were going to potentially take a quarterback, and that was conveyed to Kirk Cousins. I know the messaging that came out right after the draft seemed like Cousins was not happy, that he was blindsided by it, that part of the reason he left Minnesota is they were going to take a quarterback, and he didn't want to be a part of that. But he's handled everything like the consummate professional that he is. He's been very open, helping Michael Penix. He knows this is his job for the next couple of years. He's going to make a lot of money to be a starting quarterback, probably his last chance to be a starter in the league. But he knows, look, I can do two really good years. I'm going to get a third. I do all three. You'll probably see Penix in the fourth year, but that happens when guys get close to 40 years old. But that's a dead issue. When they open the season against Pittsburgh, Kirk's going to be the guy. He's going to go out there and probably give us 3 bills in the air, and hopefully we shut up the black and yellow nation that's going to invade our city like ants at a picnic.
Steeler fans travel well. Yes, they do. Last one for John Michaels, 680 The Fan from Atlanta. I picked my division winners last week, and I picked the Falcons. I think they get that done there in an easier division. Where am I at?
It's them in Tampa Bay. Tampa's a really good team. Baker Mayfield got the big deal, although I'm interested to see how he responds to having that kind of money again and no pressure to lose a job. I still like the offensive side of the ball, although they did lose their offensive coordinator in Dave Canales. Mike Evans is a surefire first-ballot Hall of Famer when he walks in. They run the ball pretty well. I like their team. I think that's who the Falcons fight with. We split with them a year ago. We won down there. They won up here. I think the Saints are a disaster waiting to happen. Salary cap, not a lot of explosive players on the offensive side anymore. Defense is getting old. And Carolina's still in rebuild mode. I like Bryce Young, the pick. They got to protect the kid better. He was the second most sacked quarterback a year ago. I think the Falcons should win this division, but I'm going to tell you, our first 3 games, they could be 0-3, and nobody would be really mad because you got Pittsburgh, you're at Philly, and then home on a Sunday night against Kansas City. I don't know who the hell the Falcons pissed off for the schedule gods with that one, but they're going to have to come correct. You got to win 1, maybe 2 of those games to have everybody feeling really good, but I do think we are going to win the division.
Tough start. He starts the day down in Atlanta. He's on 680 The Fan. John Michaels talking Falcons. Good to have him. Find him on X, Twitter, if you want to follow him there at John Michaels U. John, good to have you. Thanks for the time.
Hey, Nate, anytime, man.
Appreciate it. John Michaels on the Nate Brown Show. Quality. 680 The Fan. Does the show in the mornings. Good morning drive show. Has a nice crew down there. 680 The Fan. They'll be talking Falcons, Kirk Cousins, and more. Follow him on X, Twitter at John Michaels U. Falcons report in the books for the Nate Brown Show on our preseason NFL market visit. So Atlanta's in the books. Let's get into the Drive at 5 here on the Nate Brown Show. I've got something to hit here. How much money is a former college football and men's basketball player potentially going to get that played before 2016? So this is this NCAA settlement because the name, image, and likeness thing and the lawsuit, and so athletes that didn't have that opportunity, they're going to get part of a settlement. But how much? The numbers are out. How much is a football player and a men's basketball player going to get that played back in the day but didn't get NIL? How much? I've got that number next. And then I got something to complain about with the NFL opening game. I mean, this is ridiculous. On the way.
From high school to college to the pros, this is the Nate Brown Show on 106.7 FM and 1150 AM Fox Sports Rapid City.
Save big money at Menards. Menards has everything you need for your projects from ceiling to floor. Designer's Image vinyl tiles are perfect for updating your home. They feature self-adhesive backing for fast installation and come in several styles. Save big money on Designer Image vinyl tiles at Menards, America's #1 home improvement retailer for customer satisfaction, according to J.D. Power. For J.D. Power 2024 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards.
Save big money at Menards.
Get away from it all in the great outdoors for lasting family memories with a new or pre-owned RV from Dakota Discount RV. We make your RV experience fun and easy by providing you with a quality recreational vehicle, competitive pricing, and professional sales and service. Our large inventory of fifth-wheelers, travel trailers, toy haulers, and live-in horse trailers allows us to save our customers thousands of dollars compared to most dealers. Stop by and see us at Dakota Discount RV, 3330 East Mall Drive across from Cabela's and on JB Road, Blackhawk.
KIMM Rapid City and K294BT Rapid City, the Black Hills Sports Station, 106.7 FM and 1150 AM. Fox Sports Rapid City.
During the summer months, residents may encounter someone at their door looking to sell a product or a service, especially with the recent storms and flooding. The Attorney General's Consumer Protection Division offers these tips. Be aware of false claims. Keep a copy of the final bill or contract. Make final payment only after the work is completed. And pay by check to a business, not to an individual. If you have questions regarding a door-to-door sale, contact the Attorney General's Consumer Protection Division at 800-300-1986 or at consumerhelp@state.sd.us.
Hi, it's Nate Brown for Black Hills Community Bank. If you run your own company or you're looking to start a small business here in the Black Hills, you want to make sure you choose the right banking partner. And I know the right choice for business is Black Hills Community Bank. They have plenty of banking options to suit your specific needs. And Black Hills Community Bank is here to help business owners thrive and to make sure you have the support and tools to help your business grow. Just contact one of their business loan experts today or visit bhcbank.com. Member FDIC.
Hi, it's Colin Coward. Great to be in the Black Hills. Getting heard weekdays 10 to 1 on 106.7 FM and 1150 AM. Fox Sports.
Welcome back in. On a Tuesday, the Drive at 5. Here we are. We're already up to the Drive at 5. A flyby Tuesday on the Nate Brown Show. Fox Sports Rapid City. Glad you're here. 106.7 FM, 1150 AM on the radio side. Thanks for tuning in. Also, you can bring us up on your phone. Stream us anywhere. FoxSportsRapidCity.com. Live stream us. Brand new online player. A reminder, this show 4 to 6 weekdays live on X. We stream it live in studio at Nate Brown Show. Follow the show on X, Twitter, at Nate Brown Show, and YouTube, The Nate Brown Show. Search for it. You've got it. Subscribe to the channel. You're all set. South Dakota Sports Talk Show coming up. John Stiegelmeier. Hey, we haven't talked to Coach Stig. He's been a year removed from coaching. Long career. What's Coach Stig been up to? We're going to talk to John Stiegelmeier coming up. A year since we talked to him last as he retired as head coach at South Dakota State. That's on the way. It is the Drive at 5, brought to you by Summit Automotive Group, SummitAutoGRP.com. When it comes down to it, school's starting up. Maybe you need a pre-owned vehicle. Time to shop. SummitAutoGRP.com. Start there on your phone. Car buying built around you. Experience the Summit difference. Great selection right now. SummitAutoGRP.com. Remember, when it comes to pre-owned in Rapid City. Okay, couple of stories here I want to hit before we get to John Stiegelmeier, and then, of course, State A Legion coverage tonight, live with Post 22 Baseball on the air, coming up later this hour. So here's something that I wasn't aware of how much money this was going to be. So you've probably heard about this House versus NCAA. This is the lawsuit and the name, image, and likeness lawsuit that came from athletes that, you know, they didn't get name, image, and likeness, so they thought, hey, there's name, image, and likeness now, but what about the prior athletes? What about the opportunities that we didn't have, and we didn't get revenue sharing and all of that? That's basically the gist. And so this lawsuit went through, and they sided for the athletes. And so there's this major work being done on a settlement. So the settlement's going to give money to universities currently. So they're going to get $20 to $22 million. Some of the power conference schools like Nebraska, for example. Nebraska is going to get $20 to $22 million a year for football and / all the other sports. So however they divvy that up. That's current. But this settlement's also going to pay former athletes for past damages. And so the Division I athletes at power conferences that are eligible for past damages, they say if you played a sport from 2016 up until this case. So I don't know how they pulled it. 2016 up until this case. I just saw this number. You know how much a football player from 2016 at Nebraska is going to get? This is a football player, 2016 at Nebraska. You know how much he's eligible to receive? $135,000. So some people are going to say, oh, that's not much. There's guys getting paid $1 million now. I understand. But these are former players, no NIL in place. I understand it was a different world, a different deal. But I thought that number was big. I mean, we're talking about a football and men's basketball player. That's how the settlement's going to work from a power conference school. If you played in 2016, 2017, 2018, leading up to this lawsuit, they're going to receive an average of $135,000. They say the highest individual estimated payout, like for a star athlete, could be up to $1.8 million. So like Zion Williamson, that would be a perfect example. Zion Williamson, star at Duke. Maybe he's one of the guys that could make over $1 million. They say the highest payout could be for a star athlete, one athlete, $1.8 million. So my brother played at Wyoming in the 90s. Where's his payment? Where my brother's getting hosed on this. Yeah, he doesn't need your money. Well, $135K if you played. Thanks for calling. You're live today, and you go ahead.
Man, Nate, thanks for taking my call. I'm curious where they're going to get that money to pay all these people. Like, it's just nuts. Like, I don't know, you buy TV at Target, and it's on sale, and then, then they go on sale more. Like, you don't take the TV back and get that money back. It's just interesting to me. Like, I don't get, like, the lawsuit for, like, I played like 15 years ago or 5 years ago.
Yes,
now. Where's my paycheck?
It's really interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Thanks for getting in, man. Good to hear from you. Where they're going to get it, they're going to get it from all of the FCS schools. They're going to get it from the NCAA. So this was negotiated, honestly. This actually was negotiated. Schools like South Dakota State and USD, some of these smaller conferences, they're going to have to lose their revenue distribution, and thus that money's going to go to a portion of paying these former athletes from the power schools. That's true. I mean, it sounds like a made-up. It's like, what? South Dakota State's going to have to pay for these power players that didn't get paid NIL? Pretty much, because they're going to lose the distribution that they normally get. As a matter of fact, the Attorney General, Marty Jackley, is looking at a lawsuit now to fight this thing. That's a true story. That just came out. I saw that this afternoon. I don't know how he's going to fight it. It's very convoluted. It's a mess because this is a massive settlement. But honestly, those conferences, Summit League, Missouri Valley, they get distributions from the NCAA every year, right? Big dollars. They relied on in their budget. They're pulling back on those distributions, and a big portion of those are going to go to pay this lawsuit. That's honestly where the money's coming. There's about 3 different sources. NCAA, revenue from the other conferences, and they're coming at it looking at, well, we're also going to have media deals that we can pay this through, okay? There's also media rights deals that we can pull money from. That's where it's coming from. $135,000 for an average football, men's basketball player from 2016 up until this lawsuit. Well, I got to see if I can befriend somebody that played at Nebraska in like 2018. Hey, I hear you're going to get a check here. How you doing? That's interesting, isn't it? By the way, last but not least, John Stiegelmeier's coming up next. Thursday night's the opening preseason game. Did you see that? Thursday night, I mean, nobody cares, right? We got the Olympics, but NFL preseason, you know who's opening the game? The Bears. You got the Chicago Bears #1 pick, Caleb Williams, playing Thursday night this week. The Bears just announced they're not going to play any of their starters. Give me a break. This is the biggest joke. Get a preseason. What's it for? I mean, this is a joke. This is the opening game of the season. And the Bears announced today they're not going to play any of their starters, including Caleb Williams in his preseason debut. How fun. How nice. Don't worry. I'll be watching the Olympics anyway. John Stiegelmeier in next. South Dakota State, longtime head coach, 1 year removed after his retirement. What's on his mind? He'll join me live.
Did you miss an interview or great segment on The Nate Brown Show? Just find The Nate Brown Show podcast and listen wherever you download your podcasts.
Nearly 100 new GMCs in stock and on the way at Spearfish GMC. Sierra 1500 Denali AT4 SLT and Elevation Edition all in stock. 2500 and 3500 HDs starting at around $55,000. Acadias and Terrain starting at $38,300. 5 Hummer EVs in stock and on the way, including the exclusive Omega Limited Edition. We've got trucks. Spearfish GMC Cadillac online at spearfishmotors.com.
At Ace Steel and Recycling in Rapid City, our goal is to make recycling your materials so quick, so easy, and so profitable that you'll become a lifetime recycler. At Ace Steel and Recycling, we buy, process, and ship scrap iron, automobiles, stainless steel, and aluminum, including cans and cast. We also buy insulated wiring, as well as copper, brass, lead, batteries, zinc, and tungsten carbide. Visit acesteelusa.com or give us a call at 342-8649. Ace Steel and Recycling, 2830 Eglin Street, Rapid City.
Hi, this is Rob at Firehouse Wine Cellars, downtown Rapid City. It's summer in the Black Hills, and our selection of wines at Firehouse Wine Cellars has never been better. The difference with Firehouse Wines is we make our wines right here in our modern winemaking facility with real grapes from the best vineyards on the West Coast. If you love wine, you need to sign up for our Firehouse Club 1915, which will get you some exclusive benefits and tastings. Join us this summer at Firehouse Wine Cellars on Main Street and enjoy the best wine in the Black Hills. You can see our great selection right now at FirehouseWineCellars.com.
Live from the Anytime Auto Sales Service and Details Studio. Sales, service, and recreation. This is Fox Sports Rapid City.
Welcome back in. South Dakota Sports Talk Show live weekdays 4 to 6. The Nate Brown Show. Glad to have you on board. Appreciate you listening, spending your time with us. We appreciate that. The Black Hills Sports Station also appreciates all of our local sponsors. Every business you hear on Fox Sports Rapid City, major supporters of local athletes, local sports, and helping our coverage all throughout the years we've been on. So whoever you hear on Fox Sports Rapid City, please treat them well. They're outstanding supporters of the local community and our local sports scene. Thanks to having the local businesses on board, how we can cover South Dakota sports. I wanted to get Coach on again. I said, man, it's been over a year. I know time flies. But John Stiegelmeier steps away from head coach for the South Dakota State Jackrabbits after winning a national title. He steps away. And I said, I got to get him on. It's almost football season again. I got Coach Stig on the mind. So former South Dakota State head coach John Stiegelmeier joined us tonight on Fox Sports Rapid City. Coach, good to talk to you. How are you?
I am super, Nate, and it's good to talk to you. I'll be honest. I missed our talks, and I'm not lobbying to talk more, but you've always done a super job and well prepared and knew what we were doing out here on East River, and so it's good to talk with you.
Well, I appreciate that, and I appreciate you coming on. I'm going to ask you this. How different has your summer been? You know, you've had a couple of these now, a couple of summers. How different have your summers been when you're not coaching football?
Well, there's fewer weeds in my garden. That's number one. Love to garden. I'm a farm boy. You know what? I miss everything about coaching. So, you know, I think about the players. I think about the team camps, all that stuff. But I learned before I retired, when you retire and you've been the head of something, you need to stay out of their hair let them do their thing. And so I've reluctantly tried to stay away when Jimmy Rogers has a question, the head coach. I jump at answering it, but we've been blessed. We've been very busy, and can't wait to watch the Jackrabbits again this year.
John Stiegelmeier on tonight, longtime South Dakota State head coach, of course, stepping away just over a year ago. When you watched the Jacks this past year, I didn't talk to you about this yet. When you watched them this past year, they were really, really good. What jumped out to you watching them make another run to the national title?
Well, there was zero weaknesses. I mean, the Jacks had guys watching, second-team guys that would start on other FCS teams. I publicly said in social media it's the best FCS football team I've ever seen. And I mean, with 8 guys in NFL camps right now, that's not a bold statement. That's a pretty solid statement. But Mark Gronowski, his play, Isaiah Davis, I mean, there's 2 linemen that are in NFL camps. I mean, just dominant players at their position. And you know, I think you know this, Nate, and I think fans know it. Those guys they're like sons to a coach, you know, position coach, a head coach, a pass coach. And so it was so fun to see their enjoyment and their confidence just keep growing and growing and growing.
Coach, I'm going to ask you what you've been up to. You've stayed connected to South Dakota State. I know that. You're really passionate about the university. What have you been trying to do?
Well, I work part-time for the SDSU Foundation, which is the fundraising arm of just about every phase of the university. And that's been so fun, the culture at SDSU Foundation, Steve Urbanbach, the leader, Keith Malem, the second guy in charge. It's unbelievable, you know. And I'm used to 10 coaches going to work and say, we work harder than anybody else. This is totally different, you know, with people that are smiling and communicating, and not that we didn't have a good culture. And then I've been given a lot of talks, Nate. I jokingly say 2 things intersected. I retired, so there's time, and I won one more. We won one more game, which happened to be a national championship. So now people think you have a better story, and I'm no different. But the story includes some really great success.
I want to ask you about how you've enjoyed maybe that side of it. I've seen you get together, talk to coaches, talk to high school coaches. What do you enjoy about that?
Well, I had so many great mentors in my life. I mean, I'm here every time I've been able to be blessed to win an award because I'm part of a really good program. I have always tried to reference the people that raised me in the profession, raised me as a young person in Selby, South Dakota. And so arrogantly, you think you might have something to share to a young assistant coach, a young head coach, high school young men or women, high school students that are wondering how life is or what to do. And so our basis was make a difference in SDSU football. And so ideally when you get to visit with somebody, you have a positive impact, which is what we defined as making a difference.
John Stiegelmeier on. When you look at Jimmy Rogers, you, of course, coached with him. You know him well. He's a South Dakota State guy through and through. What did you think of how he took over the program? Did he do anything different?
You always have to do things different. What I think was very honoring is he kept some of the stuff that we had in place and that he really grew up with, things that were part of his DNA. But a coach has to, when I talk to coaches, I say, God made you a certain way. None of us are the same. You have to figure out who you are as a coach, because then it's going to be natural. Then it's going to be easy for you because you're just living your life. You happen to be called a coach. And Jimmy's a great leader. He's very intense. He's highly organized. And you could see those things as the team played. And when he asked questions, I mean, he was 4 years into being a head coach when he was a first-year head coach based on his progression and his thought process.
John Stiegelmeier joining us tonight, longtime South Dakota State head coach here, talking Jackrabbits and his career now over a year removed as head coach of the Jacks. So you were on the tail end of this, Coach. So you weren't right in the middle of it, but it was starting. The new world, NIL. people coming in, looking for maybe a little extra, and you got a high-level program. You can attract some great players. They're now trying to get some NIL collective stuff going. You're now in the fundraising side of the foundation, so there's needs and all of that support needed in many ways. What do you think of that whole shift, the NIL world? Is it going to be harder on staffs and coaches?
I think it's going to be different. My standard answer, Nate, is I'm glad I'm 67 and not 47. All right, because of the what's happened the last 4 or 5 years. But I do think this. I do think with NIL and the transfer portal, eventually there'll be statistics, and you can't argue statistics. They're as clear and factual as it gets. There'll be statistics that say this is what we need to do. This is a better way to do it. And right now it's seemingly the wild, wild west, and I think everything normally starts that way. And then you just try to even out. I will say this, whether it's the transfer portal or NIL, which is the question you asked, yes, we need NIL for our players, but I don't think a kid ever leaves a school and says, I made this much money, it was fulfilling. I don't think that'll ever happen. They may feel it might be a temporary thing, but that's an external motivation. When a kid leaves a school, he knows that he had an unbelievable experience. He got a degree. He's got a chance to pursue his dream, whatever that is, and he's surrounded by people he loves. That's infinitely more important and more valuable in my mind than a big NIL agreement. So I know I'm old-fashioned, but I think that'll bear out here in the future.
Coach, I've talked to Justin Sell, and he's been doing an outstanding job there, putting South Dakota State in position to be so successful in so many programs. He looks at the future, and everybody kind of looks, where are things going? Are things changing? The big programs might have their own thing. Where does that leave the rest of FBS? Where does that leave FCS? What do you say about South Dakota State's position in the national realm if they have to do something else besides FCS? Do you see the Jacks able to do it?
Well, I think we're able to do it, but I'll be honest with you. I don't think it's the right thing to do. I think if it's because of we go R1, we become an R1 research institution, and the president at that time, and that's a journey in itself, the president at the time says that we need to be FBS because of that, then that's a university decision, and I've always honored that. As an athletic department, there is nothing better than seeing your name pop up on ESPN selection show and say 110 guys get excited about having a chance to win a national championship. And that doesn't happen at FBS. There's the haves and there's the have-nots. And so if anything happens, I think the Power Four will do their own thing, which you referenced, and everybody else will settle in on what is best for the student athletes in our institutions, and that'll be a right answer, because that won't be a flippant, let's try this out and do it.
John Stiegelmeier on tonight. Last one, Coach. What are you enjoying the most? What are you enjoying the most now? You're talking to people. You're weeding your garden. That's for you, not me. But what are you enjoying the most?
By far, time with family. When you're a coach, two things. Number one, it is intense, and during the season, it's 100 hours a week, and during recruiting, it's on the run and calling people. And the second thing is my mind could never shut that off. It was the last thing I thought about and the first thing I thought about, and I'm not proud of that. I don't think that's the way a coach should be, but that's the way I was. So now I go home, and my wife doesn't have to tell me to come sit down on the couch and talk to her. I do that naturally once in a while. We get to spend time with grandkids. We get to spend time with our children, and I love football, Nate. You know that. I loved everything about it, but I love family and trying to make up for a lot of days and a lot of hours that I was absent, both physically and mentally.
I'm glad you hopped on tonight. I know you've always been able to do that a lot for us out here, and everybody loves hearing from you. Coach John Stiegelmeier on, longtime South Dakota State head coach, and over a year out. from football retirement, but he's still doing some work. Coach, good to have you on. I really appreciate the time.
I appreciate you, Nate, and bless you. And maybe down the road, if you're lonely, give me a call because I don't have any friends.
Okay. All right, I appreciate that. John Stiegelmeier tonight talking South Dakota State, FCS, where he's been at, where he's at, and where things are going. I saw he was out here golfing a little bit. I saw that with some coaches, so that's always great. Coach Stig on tonight, national champ, longtime South Dakota State head coach. If you missed anybody like Coach Stig, that was good stuff. Go to the Nate Brown Show podcast. We'll put it up there tonight. Every show right there. Search the Nate Brown Show wherever you get your podcast. We'll get you ready for baseball next. State A Legion baseball tournament starting. Brent Bowen is on the call. Speaking of South Dakota State, he covered the Jacks baseball team. He's covering Post 22 tonight in the opening game. Straight ahead next against Brookings. Hang on.
This is the Nate Brown